Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. SLA, here we go. Episode 12. We got CJ and Orvin joining us. This time, we're going to cover some nice, juicy topics. We got first AI music. It's actually pretty interesting, finally diving into it and touching up. And then we're going to cover Mario and how the Super Mario Brothers movie is it's 100 million away worldwide from reaching $1 billion in revenue as of sometime this week. Maybe it already did. I don't know.
That's crazy.
So, first, music. You guys have touched up anything on music recently?
When it
Like,
comes to the
you know,
AI
any
stuff,
AI stuff?
I've looked into a certain degree of it, kind of how kind of far it's gotten, and almost to the point where it's able to mimic other artists completely. Like you listen to it, and if someone didn't say it was AI, you'd be like, "Yeah, that's the artist."
Yep, kind of like first one that comes in my head is Drake's and the Weekend thingy with heart sleeve or sleeve on my heart
Hmm.
on my sleeve, something like that. Keep forgetting the name.
Yeah, I saw that
Uh,
one, and then Richard, I mentioned it to you a little earlier. The whole new Bad Bunny song with Rihanna, where on TikTok, that
It's
one
it's interesting with like the
went kind of
female singers. I
crazy.
feel like it almost does
Famous.
better with for most of the cases.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
exactly what we were
I've
saying
heard
too.
what like five female singers, and it all copied them pretty good. But when it comes to male singers, it was kind of like a hit and miss. Like you had Jackson or Michael. Yes, there's a lot of Mike. I was thinking Michael Jordan. I was like, nothing right. But yeah, Michael Jackson, and it kind of had a hard time doing his a bit. Kanye was kind of like a hit and miss depending on the song, especially when every time when it hit like a high note, it would just like it would just come out all digitally gross and then go back to normal. So if it's like a easy song that's kind of low, but there was one where it was Eminem, and his Rap God song.
no, I haven't heard
It
that
was
one.
able to like I forgot what the artist that replaced it with, but it was doing
Oh
it and it did
yes,
a
I know what
really
you're
good
talking
job
about.
at the speed and when it was going. I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
There's the oldest thing though that I at least when I'm diving into it, at least the lyrical side of things is not as accessible. So I think it's of course it's the complexity of it probably, but I think the easiest one in the current state right now of AI
Hmm.
tools is pictures and images, hands down. Even your grandma, no, not really, but grandma levels of use case. Like anybody can do it. And then it reaches, which one, guys? I think
Music,
music's ahead
yeah,
of video
definitely
right
ahead of
now
video.
as to
Video's
AI
definitely
development.
lagging behind, but I
That's
think that has
true.
to do with the processing. It needs more processing behind it, and that's NVIDIA and what they're
Yeah,
doing with their new, I forgot what it was. They had like a lineup to a software that will be really good at being utilized for AI, and they're coming out with that. Yeah,
yeah. Most of the video stuff is locked
yeah.
behind betas, alphas, and whatnot. Most of the video stuff is what I'm noticing. It's not as freely accessible. But I worked today and yesterday a lot with Kyber, and they like it's messy, but it's impressive. What, of course, it won't. I think Kyber, to give context to people, is pretty much an mid journey in the sense of it'll create a music video if you wanted to, or it'll just make an animation, motion art, but video style, where it changes a lot. Sort of what people do with the thirst
Oh
traps
yeah,
with
plenty of those.
Stable Diffusion. You know
Wait, so are
what
you
I'm
talking
talking
about like
about.
text to video, or
Yeah.
Yeah, those.
like is that text to video? Because there's the
Text, yeah.
motion
They'll
capture
do,
ones where
so
they
Kyber,
do a video and it overlays over that to give it kind of like a different.
yeah,
Yeah,
Kyber
that's
is
where it
pretty
does its
much, I think
best.
that's where it does its best. Kyber works best with that. When it comes to creating from scratch, it gets messy, and It depends. At least in my experience, it can get really messy, but it is much better than whatever
Yeah.
Google is pulling off with their video version.
I also I also saw that there was like AI editing for like podcasting, so it's like essentially normally, well, I guess a good example is us right now. When one of us is talking, normally like if there's three different cameras set up, you have to edit which camera you're going to be looking at, or which point of view, choosing the different cameras. But I've seen that there's AI that will automatically generate, okay, like it's my voice, so it'll show up on me. And then if it was Richard's voice and he's facing a different camera, it'll switch automatically, which will cut it like kind of close, but obviously it's not very close. So, but I know that that has been helping reduce like a lot of hours
Yeah, there's a
in
lot
terms
of
of
stuff
like
coming out
editing.
to
I think that
assist
that's kind of
with
crazy.
like editing
Yeah.
for YouTubers and anybody on videos that I've seen, and that literally can take away someone's job. Though, as an editor, you're like, well, that's normally what I would be doing, but it could also be that it doesn't take away his job. It just makes his job more efficient and faster. So instead of the content creator using it, the editor is the one using it for like bigger companies. And then for smaller content creators, it makes it so they can produce more videos out there at higher quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was telling my friend that AI has made it so that we're no longer a society based off of skills, and it's more of a society based off of
Mm,
people
yeah.
skills,
Can see
because
that.
it's because we're no longer having to be like competing. It's like, oh well, who's the best in their field? Well, it doesn't matter. I can still, as long as I can Google it, it
Well,
doesn't matter
sometimes it's
who has
about
the best.
using the tools you have
I
more
can see that.
efficiently than your competitors. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, creativity, I think,
I
being more
agree.
creative.
yeah. It's really interesting.
The entry point. I wanted to cover real quick on the music end. Uh, Lyrics definitely is the hardest, I think, when it comes to music. Making beats, it's not as Mid-Journey level of easy or images of easy, but definitely making beats is quite easy nowadays. Adding lyrics is probably, I think, up there below video.
Mm.
Um, and then, dude, show us Spotify, your little assistant.
Yes, 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 yes. I was actually just thinking about it. How there is in fact the whole there's what's it called? So oh yeah, there's DJs essentially that what they're doing nowadays is creating like their whole sets and like light shows using AI. I think that's crazy because then at that point it's like, well, you don't even need an individual actually creating. Like you don't even need like Diplo, for instance, or Skrillex anymore. It's just like one general guy who just listens through everything and it's like, yeah, that's good enough. That's good enough. Oh yeah, that looks good. So like it could very easily transition like music into a whole different like experience where it's like significantly cheaper,
Yeah,
right? And it could
produce.
even be like state produced or city produced rather than or production company produced
Wait, do
rather
you
than
guys
artist
remember
produced.
kind of
Mm.
there's the hologram kind of like AI like anime girl that with like the blue uh pigtail hair? Do you remember that one that came out?
Mm.
And like it was like a stage where they were able to get this
Mm.
holographic version of her on the stage dancing and then singing, and the voice that came out, you knew it was like kind of like mechanical or AI like voice, but people were into it though. And then they would just get lots of money and revenue from that, and then they would host these events and stuff. And when people saw that, they're like, "Oh, that this is a possibility of killing off anybody from like actually being on stage and stuff, and this could replace it because they could just keep on going. They don't have to worry about the artist's voice and worry about them getting tired of doing the same type of moves on stage and pay all these dancers and stuff like that. Like I remember when it came out, it was like what, 4 or 5
Yeah,
years
the
ago or
whole
something like that. And I thought, I'm like, oh, that's crazy. And then now you get these AI generated
I know.
voices that sound really realistic, and then you just have to put a hologramic version of them up that looks, it's really hard to tell unless you're like up close that it's not them.
I know that recently, like I think it was Jay Z. He said something about how like this generation of artists is just trash compared to like 10, 20 years ago.
hmm
Because now it's like they put their song on in the background and all they're doing is picking up the microphone and just like essentially just doing
Yeah, that's
karaoke
kind of
with
true.
their own song. Uh, versus how it used to be, it was like we would experience the artist where they would like tell stories, they would share life experiences. Like I just think about just a year ago I went and saw Andrea Bocelli in concert. Obviously he's not like a very common or typical artist, but he was there and he was telling stories about his life experience and certain aspects of his life, and it's just like that is what I think adds a lot of value to
Yeah,
concerts
now
or
you can
to
have
just like
AI do it
musical
for you.
experiences. So it would be kind of like
Yeah,
yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. It'd be interesting to see like just auto
it could
generating
just
like
generate
stories and
stories,
such,
images. It
but
could
at the
do
same
all
time
of
it'd be
that
like
there and have like this entire show for you and sing to you and put up like a video,
mm-hmm,
and it's all AI generated. And we might get to a point where live stuff is just
it'll be
all going to
true.
be this kind of like with like E3 and how it just kind of died out once COVID came up and everything started going online.
Yeah,
So it's definitely a
yeah,
possibility for that
very interesting.
Makes
to
me.
shift over there really quickly with what we're seeing.
I was
Yeah.
thinking about um, the performances of stage, for example, having artists
Yeah.
perform live. So if you recall when autotune and playing over, just singing over your track, if you go see a singer, their song that they upload to the music platform, Spotify or Apple Music, is gonna sound the way you like to hear it, and that's the way it's supposed to sound. When you go see them live, would you prefer to hear their normal human voice, or do you want the version that you've been listening to? So that's first question. And so then it comes second, the performance. Do you want to see them perform live in their physical form, or do you want to see a hologram? And that correlates to like sports. Do you care for an NBA game that they're all robots running around playing, or do you want to see
Well, it depends
humans
if that
play?
robot has an
Because
AK and it's
it,
like going in there and they're just, it's a different type of game being played. Then yeah, people would be totally down for that because it allows for things that physically before or would put people in danger can now be done. But go,
I can see that, but it has to
yeah,
change though. You wouldn't go watch LeBron
yeah.
James today if he were a robot and it was calibrated to perform to the same level as he would. I don't see people being that interested in it. Kind of, for example, another example is, do you think those thirst simps, do you think they care if the woman they're looking at is real or
Well,
not?
based off what we've seen in the past, they don't care if it's real or not. Like, yeah.
Yet
Well,
I think they
no,
do.
you would
there's different
argue that
sections there. There's like you'd say like the weeaboos that they don't care. There's a reason why they're all into the 2D world of women. But then you have the other group that are like the Chads, and they're like, dude, F anime. Like, I don't want anything to do with that. And they're gonna be totally about the authentic women that are out there.
right, that you
I
want a
think
level of realism
Yeah,
or
they want that this
human.
human touch to it.
and I think it'd be really fun to see like an NBA game of like LeBron versus a
Yeah.
robot
Well, we've already done that in esports where,
kind of
and
thing.
people
And
wanted to see
that's
that,
where it'd be cool.
right?
It's kind of
Yeah.
like, for example, Dota or League of Legends to kind of finish because we're at 15 minutes. But if I would not care to watch robots or AI play Dota or Fortnite because there's no margin of error. There has to be that. If you put computers to play against each other, Dota is like a game of math. As long as you perform certain tasks in a certain amount of time, you're good. The game is going to be boring because it's kind of like adding 1 plus 1 equals 2. That's it. That's all you're watching. Um, Fighting games,
It's
almost
too
the same
predictable.
thing. The human error margin is where it gets fun, and so I think that's where everything will be able to be replaced by AI, but that doesn't mean us humans, in my opinion, are going to allow it because
Well, I
it
see what you're
destroys
getting
the
at,
meaning of
but the
the
problem is based
thing.
off what we've seen with the current AI capabilities is that AI can act as a person. Like they can imitate a person so much to the point where if you did not know it was AI, then like you would think it was a real person. So it's about whether you know it or not. And so that's where it comes down to like the advertising aspect of it, where people are like, well, I'm not AI, this and that. And then they bring people that are like not about the AI over there. But everybody else, the majority of the population is just going to keep on following like sheep towards that direction because they don't know any better. They don't understand that what they're hearing or what they're seeing was not made by people. Maybe, in a sense, they were made by people, but behind the scenes. Like it was a person orchestrating the whole thing, but they were using AI to create it all. And then it's just kind of like we're already seeing that with artwork, where you see this amazing art piece that somebody put out in a competition, and nobody knew it was AI made, and yet he won. He didn't take the trophy, he didn't take the reward because he didn't feel like it was right. The fact that this won and it wasn't like a person did it. So I think there's definitely going to be a discrepancy there and fighting amongst, but I think for the majority of the population, I don't think they fully care enough to put it out there, and that's where you get laws going to be put in place where it's going to shut everything down.
That's why I think people in the comment section on this podcast, you need to let us know where do you draw the line that you accept it to be AI fully, your entertainment? How much of it do you want it to be human made, and how much of it you don't mind if it's all just computer generated? Um, Speaking of computer generated, you know what's not fetching computer generated? The millions and millions of dollars of Super Mario Brothers and the
I
nostalgia
wouldn't go
that
as
I'm
far to say
fetching getting
hard
a hard
one.
one for Mario. Guys, I love them.
Maybe
If
it
it's
is
all
computer
online. We don't
generated
talk
if it's
about that.
all
That's for another
online
time.
money.
Yes. But guys, I'm telling you, the movie, I think IGN confirmed that Nintendo has said that they're going to do, I think I read it yesterday, that they said they're
Well, it
going
looked
to
like they
do more
opened it up
movies
for a second
because
one
this
based
one's
off the
just been,
fact that there's
it's
missing
so
key
successful.
characters like Yoshi.
And
Why would you ever leave Yoshi out?
spoiler alert!
I didn't
If
go
you
away
haven't
at
seen it by
anything
now,
else, just the
CJ,
fact that it
sorry,
doesn't have
you
Yoshi.
got to.
That's enough for me to be slightly disappointed, but it's
It's
still a
really
really
good.
good movie.
Yeah, definitely. I think it shows that simple sometimes is better. It's just so simply made, and
Yeah,
hopefully it
like
doesn't
as
turn
long as they're
into
not taking
this
politics or woke crap, then I'm
fetching
like, just stick with the
Marvel
stuff that we've
Universe
already know.
crap where,
Just and then
dude,
just make
honestly, at
it,
this point,
and then the nostalgia, just bring that in, and boom, like millions of dollars. Like I don't, why do they have to make it different? Every single time they have to like implement these things. They're like, if you just took that out, so many people would be more happier with, or yeah, they would be more happy with the movie. But I'm not specifically talking about this movie, but I'm saying in general, you get these movies that should have been good with how much money was backing them, but then they mess it up because they have to have their politics in there for some reason. Like, Yeah.
It was
Like Ant-Man, the new one.
yeah, Ant-Man, and I think of
Did you
course
see
just
the backlash
production.
for the new Captain Marvel one?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that one. I don't get the trailer where the controversy is coming from because I only watched it once. I was kind of distracted too, but to me, it just
Yeah, if you're a
looked
kid, you're
like
just
a
gonna watch it. It's
kids
like eye
movie
candy.
with fancy
That's
graphics, the jokes in it,
and a
some of
lot
the
of them are gonna
character
think it's good
designs
because
and
of that.
stuff. That I was like, is this? Yeah, so it definitely felt that way.
Yeah,
But
I
I do
agree.
think as long as they keep the Mario stuff just kind of in the middle, you know, and don't pursue, which I hope Nintendo keeps a strong, firm hand on that they keep their values being respected, and
Dude,
I think they
I
hold
just
a
thought
pretty
of
good
like the
ground. Of
Birdo
course,
character,
that
just
probably
implementing that in the movie,
triggers
like
the people that hate Nintendo
because
DMCA
they're not
claiming
gonna play
content.
around with the fact that like Birdo's a dude.
Oh,
Spoiler alert:
that's
if you
gonna
didn't
be
know,
hard.
Birdo's a dude.
Birdo's gonna be hard, man.
Well,
Yeah, that'll be,
You
and that's
just
where the
stretching.
controversies arise. I, I think it's interesting because it's like we're in an era of so
oh, it was
much
huge.
like political correctness that I think having that Mario movie kind of was like a breath of fresh air. Like
I haven't.
even now with just
Oh,
like
oh, that one. Okay, yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen like the whole like Netflix thing on about Cleopatra,
Oh
and
yeah.
how apparently she's black, according to Data Smith, and it's just
Yeah.
like
Yeah, after the,
it's like
the
I don't know
100th
if you
bite, did it
like
taste better than the first?
people are
Like
starting to
it gets
get
old after
tired
a
of
while, where
eating
you're
the
like, okay,
same
I'm done.
food
I'm done
and
with
being
this.
told it's something else. Yeah. And it,
Yeah.
honestly, initially, I was kind of upset about the fact that they like made a Mario movie because I'm like, there's so many good stories out there. You're just gonna make a Mario movie, one that is just like who doesn't know
No, the
what
fact that we
Mario is
haven't
when
had a
there's like what
Mario movie made
60
until
to
now is
100
the crazy
plus Mario games?
because of how
Like,
much Mario is
why
out
are
there.
we
You're like, why
wasting
now?
time having a Mario movie made? And then that's valid because there's what like yeah yeah
That's
yeah I'm
interesting. The like
I'm
text to me.
super
Oh yeah, that one.
I'm super excited to see how the Gears of War movie is gonna be.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
excited to
Oh,
see that.
Netflix. Dude, this is the thing with Gears and Netflix. So Gears is literally
A
what
lot of
Netflix doesn't
testosterone, just
swallow. Just
tons of it.
macho, exaggerated
Yeah,
males and females, just swearing, killing anything that moves, and swearing along the way is
Well, it
fetching
depends on whether that's a
redneck.
male or female if they're against it. So,
Yeah, true macho
like,
crap.
if they want
And
to make a woman into a
Netflix
man,
is
then
so
they'll be
against
happily do
that.
that, and that's
And
probably what they're going to do with
well,
that.
it depends. Yeah, dude,
It's
Netflix
like there's
is.
not a single woman
unless
here that's
it's
all men with
yeah
tits.
Yeah.
or artificial or
Sorry
not.
to interrupt, but yeah.
I would be very disappointed if they did that. Yeah. Like I think it was good to make the Mario movie because I think what it did is it kind of laid out a good foundation of like, hey, playing video games is no longer taboo, and we know almost all of you play video games are familiar with video games. So let's stop pretending as if you don't know what these video games are, and just enjoy the movie. Just shut up,
True.
sit down, enjoy the movie.
Yeah, the movie. Yeah, just grab. Yeah, it's so simple. It does have its jokes, of course it has to, but it needs to make fun of something. But guys, I think it's a good success. Gears movie coming out. What else is mobile that gaming that's coming out that got
I
announced?
thought for
God of
some
War
reason there was like
Yeah.
got announced.
wait, there is a God of War movie coming out?
Yeah, I think Amazon's hosting it. So holy crap, dude! If they butchered
It
Lord of the
wasn't
Rings, what are they
amazing.
gonna
And
do
then you
to
have
poor
Witcher on top of
Kratos?
that with.
You
Oh wait,
think they
that was
butchered Lord of
Netflix.
the
I did the
Rings?
orange.
Wait,
Yeah, never mind.
Well, here we go, bros. Rings of Power, in my opinion, was butchered.
Really?
Oh, dude, this is probably a
Really?
good topic. Oh, but
I
that's
thought Rings of
Netflix.
Power
Okay,
was
Chris, what is
That,
your
in my
opinion on
opinion,
the
The Witcher
Lord of the
changing to
Rings?
that, I think it should have been called The Women in The Witcher with Geralt as a side character.
literally. Literally.
The Women of The Witcher. Yeah,
I
Rings
thought
of Power, bro.
I thought it was very well made. I didn't enjoy like I really liked the graphics. Just the image, the camera work was just fantastic. Like it was an overall interesting story, but I think it kind of like was too female centric. It just felt like kind of like
Well,
weird
did you get
that it was
the
so female centric when there's
did you get the
not
Mary
that many
Sue
female
vibe though?
characters in those in that
Like the
world
entire time,
that
where it
are
was
like
just the Mary
warriors.
Sue
But then on
like
top of that,
trope just
like
shoved down your
it
throat
felt
the entire
very
time?
just weird to see different races that were not just white. I think while I was watching it, I didn't. After I started like seeing some of the comments, I was like retrospectively thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, I could see it, but it didn't feel very forced to me. It felt very
It's like a
much
filler episode, and at the end of it, you realize it had
like,
nothing to do with the plot. That's pretty much what it
hey,
was.
we want to distract you from everything that you're watching. It was kind of like a filler episode, but like four dragged across
Hmm.
4 episodes, and I'm just like, yeah, yeah, and I was just like, "Oh, okay,
And then the whole
oh,
army going. What's
yeah,
the? I always forget names of these characters, but the whole army of the men of the island, and then they go on the boat, and then they get
mm-hmm.
to Middle Earth, and it's like couple like 50, 20, 40 horses, and it's like, bro, this is supposed to be a massive army and crap.
Yeah,
And then they get beat up so easily by orcs, and
mm-hmm.
you're like, bro, this is
You
the
guys are
best of
supposed
the
to be
best of
super
the
strong, yeah.
humans. And dude, there's some
I
video
just
guy I
uh
followed that he critiqued every episode as to the location and stuff. Like there's a that where Galadriel is going with the horses to rescue the town that's holding their fort with the black elf guy and the lady that saves him because there has to be a woman saving a guy for some reason. Like if it would have been done better, I wouldn't have
yeah,
minded. But the
yeah,
way that huge, tall, fetching is it an orc at that point? That's really tall has the black elf guy down. I even don't remember any of the characters' names. And the girl
yeah.
comes in the back and stabs him. Dude, she's got to be like 6 feet tall in order to stab him straight up, to hold the sword too that heavy and just slam it right in the throat of the orc that's fetching crushing the elf guy.
I don't think this
And
is an
that's the
anime.
part of
Anime does that all the
show that I
time. If
had the
that was in
hardest
there,
time
I would
with,
be
and
like,
is the
okay,
fact that
that's
like
just how it
these
is. But
women
like
are
in
fighting
real
using
life, I'm
these
like, no,
long
that
swords
doesn't
that
work.
weigh what 50 to 100 pounds, and they're just swinging it around as if it was nothing. I'm just like,
That's pretty
I
much
didn't mind
what.
Galadriel's.
yeah.
I think if you did it that way, I think it
True.
would change
I
I
wouldn't
your
mind
opinion on
seeing
it. Like
Galadriel
if someone
kicking
that
butt
doesn't really
like
know what
fetching
Lord of the Rings
anime
is and
character,
watched
but
it, I
everybody
think it would
was an
come out
anime
different.
character kicking butt.
Yeah, yeah. I think the way I kind of watched it, I watched it like it wasn't Lord of the Rings. I watched it like,
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I agree.
Like it was a very good Middle Earth style or themed show, but I would not say that it was a very good Lord of the Rings show.
I agree. I would say so
Henry
too.
Cavill's what
Get
I
rid of
want to
that and-
watch. If
Which
he's in
just
it,
made
let's go.
interesting. But then
I did like-
the Witcher one, that one was really good. Like the first like 2 seasons of it, and then like they started making these like branch off seasons, and I'm just like, what the heck is this? Like, what? Why? Like, we just want to watch
Oh.
The Witcher. Like, what's
I
the
know
big
what you're
deal?
talking about the
That exactly.
what was the one called? Yeah, there's the one that shows what happens before, many years before even The Witcher. That one was so bad. I was like, oh my God.
It's just like, why
Yeah,
did
just
you invest the time?
Copy
money
and
to
paste. That's
make
what we.
a prequel to this movie, to this series, when we don't even care.
Yeah, pretty
Like,
much.
we literally just want to watch him just start a quest, finish a quest, and then start another quest, and then finish that quest, and then just do that a bunch of times.
haven't.
That's all you want to watch.
I think,
Yeah,
yeah, I
that's
think
what,
they,
that's what Game of Thrones is.
yeah, and what was the other thing? I think that's why I think the Mandalorian in this third season suffered from it. They're adding, I don't know if you guys have watched it, but there's a female character in there, Kabatan or whatever her name is. And
Yeah,
the Mandalorians turned into like almost the Witcher style at some points where it's not even close, but you can see the signs of it, in my opinion.
yeah.
That they're trying to
Yeah.
make it more like she's replacing the. I don't even know the male guy. I just call him the Mandalorian, Grogu or Baby Yoda. I'm that I'm that ignorant to their names, but anyway, yeah, that's the vibes I'm getting there. And then there's the
Oh yeah, that one.
that's is getting out of my head. The next show, but yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, I think for me, I
Yeah.
don't mind having strong female characters.
No, like
There's this
like
show
male and
that
female
I've
are
been
both
recently
different
watching
in their
called
strengths,
Suits. It's about
and you can lean into
lawyers.
those strengths, and that's
Oh, yeah.
fine. But it's like when you're trying to
It
lean
has
into somebody
great
else's strength that you
female
don't have
characters,
or can,
Nope.
in my
and
opinion, not
they're
ever have,
strong,
because it's
but
just you
it's
can't
not
do
like
that. Like it's just
I'm
biologically
strong like a
impossible for you to go in
man
that strength
strong.
because
It's more
there's
like
just
I'm strong.
you're not
like
physically
a
strong
man
enough to be
strong.
an NBA player and be able to do all that. Like as much as you want to,
Yeah,
that's
it's
just not going to happen. Done right.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I would not.
Yeah.
I would want to see like a 007 with a woman main character, but I wouldn't expect it to like well yeah, I definitely don't expect it to be done right, but I wouldn't expect her to be like the same kind of like seductive in the same way like that James Bond
Yeah,
is.
she uses her
But I also would
femininity
expect her
to
to just like
bypass things. Yeah.
get away with a lot more oh, that wasn't me. Like, I'm just an innocent
Yeah.
I'm an innocent girl. I'm an innocent woman, and then not get interrogated for that reason, right? Like, I would expect her to just in general.
It's
Just
one of
be,
those
like,
things where they do like a
as much
body
as James
check,
Bond.
and
Because,
normally
like,
James
she just
Bond he
exactly
wouldn't be
she
able to
just
have
blends
anything
in.
on him when they do a body check, or else
But
they'll
like,
find
it's
it.
like the
But
moment
for
she's
her,
getting
they just do a
interrogated,
body
I
check, and
expect
then
her to
later
break like super
pulling out
cold.
this like freaking device and then
But it's not just
cutting
like she's
things
weak.
with it, and you're
It's
just
more
like, where
like
did she pull that out of?
because she's just like likes James Bond.
Yeah.
Hey, comes with perks to be a female sometimes, you know?
I wonder.
Well, guys, I think there we go. I think we need to leave it at here. We're 35 minutes in, and it's been a good episode. And yeah, guys, thanks for coming. Everybody, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you hopefully next week.